Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in to the Bradley Real Estate Group. Today we're going to be talking about fees that you should expect when buying a home. Let's begin. The very first thing that I want to talk about, the very first fee that you should expect when you're buying a home is a down payment. So now if you're buying a home, FHA, the down payment is 3.5% down. So easy math, you're buying a house at $100,000, you should expect to be paying about $3,500 in a down payment. Now there are different loan types. If you are buying a home VA, if you're a veteran, don't miss out on your benefits. That is 0 down, 0% down. Of course, we will be covering some of the other fees. Just because you're having a 0% down loan doesn't mean that there aren't some fees like earnest money, home inspection, and appraisal fee that we will be covering shortly. So those are some loan types. You could talk to your lender about different loan types. There are some city grants that you can take advantage of that are also 0% down. The myth is that you have to pay 20% down in order to buy a home. And even though that is well advised, if you have the savings for it, that is not completely true. You can buy a home 0 down, or you could buy a home at 3.5% down. It's a great loan. So that's fee number one, the down payment. You should definitely be discussing it. Number two fee that you should be expecting whenever you are buying a home is your closing costs. You should talk to your realtor and your lender about closing costs. Now, even though we are in some areas of the states that the closing costs are almost customary for the seller to pay on behalf of the buyer, don't expect that. That is not always the case. If you are in a seller's market, closing costs are usually paid by the buyer. You might have to use that as a negotiating tool, like, hey, if you accept my loan, you do not have if you accept my offer, you don't have to pay any of my closing costs. So don't assume that the closing costs will be covered by the seller. This is something that should be written in the contract. You should be talking to your realtor and you should be talking to your lender about how much closing costs you will need for your loan. So make sure that you don't miss that. That's a very important one. Number three fee that you should be expecting whenever you're buying a home is your earnest money. Now we have a video in detail where we explain earnest money. So make sure that you go back and watch that video if you're confused about what the earnest money is. But the earnest money, it pretty much just saying, hey, I'm serious about buying this home. I'm putting this money as a deposit, and it's still your money. It's still your money, but you will have to pay that up front as a, hey, separate my house, mark my house as a pending property. It's no longer on the market because it's pending sale. So that is earnest money. And, you know, it depends on the area. I've heard different things. So in our market, the earnest money, anything under $100,000 is customary here that we put $500 earnest money. Anything above $100,000 is at least $1,000 earnest money. But I've heard in other places where earnest money is 1%, 2% of the loan amount. It's just amount of money saying, I am serious about purchasing this home. I am putting this deposit to show you that if I don't go through with the loan, that this money is at stake. The next fee that we need to be expecting whenever we are buying a home is a home inspection fee. Now, you know, a home inspection is one of these things. I've had a client ask me once before, hey, can the seller cover for my home inspection? Now, certainly in a contract, you can negotiate anything, but I wouldn't want somebody who's selling me something to pay for the inspection for something that I'm buying. I want to make sure that the person doing my home inspection is not biased in any way. So that is the fee that you should be expecting to pay. And it depends on the market, but in our market, the home inspection fee is anywhere between $250 and $400. So that is a fee that you should definitely be expecting to pay when you're buying a home. And the last fee that I want to discuss today is an appraisal fee. Now, some people get a little bit confused. What's the difference between a home inspection and an appraisal? Well, what the home inspection, the inspector is paid to find things wrong with the property. So, you know, you might have a great house, but the home inspector is always going to find something. Just know that, because if they feel that if they don't find anything, they didn't do their job, and then they can warrant their fee. So they're going to find something. Don't lose your house over, you know, negotiating, you know, petty things in the house. It's basically done for, the home inspection is basically done so that you will know what's wrong with the property, especially major things like electrical, plumbing, air conditioner, roof. You want to know those things, foundation. But the appraisal fee, the difference is that the appraisal fee covers an appraisal, and the appraisal is to verify the value of your home. You want to make sure that if you're paying $250,000 for a house and the house only appraises for $200,000, we got to figure out that $50,000 gap. So that's definitely one of the reasons why a lender, if you're getting a home and it's being financed, the lender will require an appraisal. Well, how much is an appraisal fee? Well, it's anywhere between $450 and $550, depending on your area. Again, in our market is about $450, $500 for an appraisal fee, and sometimes it is covered up front. It is covered by the lender, and then it's taken out with the fees like closing fees. But other times you may be required to pay for that appraisal up front, and it is something very common that I've seen them done both ways. So don't assume that just because you're buying a house zero down that you don't have to pay anything else. So I always tell my clients, when you're going to buy a house, you want to make sure, even if you don't use it, you want to make sure that you have about $1,000 to $1,500 saved minimum. You know, of course you can have more, but minimum $1,500. If you don't need it, then great, you got $1,500. But if you do need it, you want to be prepared. Okay, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that it was informational and that it was beneficial to you. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on your notifications to make sure that you watch and be notified with more videos like this.